So I got some emails. Well, you just make this stuff up, don't you? A gay guy and his son want to get married. Right. No, I'm not making it up. You people on the left, you have to understand that we don't lie here. I don't have to. There's nothing in it for me to lie. I don't win or gain a thing by turning people to my point of view if I'm lying to them, because it isn't going to hold. You got to stop this projection business. I don't have to lie talking about you. You people are weird. You do strange things. Now, the Drive-Bys don't refer to it as oddball, kooky, or strange. We do. Here you go. This is a Washington Post. These gay men became father and son. Now they want to get married but can't. For 45 years, Nino Esposito and Drew Bossie have been married in almost every sense of the word, except in the sense of the word that has been in use for the last few thousands of years. They haven't been married. Only in this new cockeyed, cockamamie world where words don't mean anything have they been essentially married for 45 years. That's how screwball this is. For 45 years, Nino Esposito and Drew Bossie have been married in almost every... No, they haven't. It's not have been possible. But who's to quibble? Let's move on. Both retired. They spend their days in the garden and in the kitchen, where Esposito needs, Kneads, his own Italian bread. Oh, what a guy. What a guy. Needs his own bread. There isn't a day that one or the other will leave the house without the other. Not for doctor's appointments or groceries or anything else. They never strand each other alone, even if it's at home. Well, that right there tells you that they're not really married. Just kidding. Lighten up. Smile, Dawn. She's laughing. She knows she got it. No, they're just perfectly well-adjusted, normal people. They need their own Italian bread. They're two guys, been essentially married for 45 years. We haven't even gotten to the big crux of this yet. Just hang in there, be tough, folks. Together, the two men have long had every assurance that they're family. Every assurance that is but a legal one. Yes. Esposito, that would be Nino Esposito. He's the one who likes to knead his own Italian bread in the kitchen. He's 78. And Drew Bossie is 68. And they sought to change the legal status in 2012 before Pennsylvania legalized same-sex marriage in 2014, before the Supreme Court did the same thing for the entire country this summer. So Bossie, who is 68, allowed his partner to adopt him. As both of their pairs of parents were deceased, they had no issues with legal guardianship, and they chose to make Esposito the father by virtue of the fact he was 10 years older. See how easy it is to change the definition of father? All you have to do is knead your own Italian bread in your own kitchen and be 10 years older than a guy you adopted. It's easy. And so was, it says here, the adoption process. Now, silly old me, I've been thinking all these years it's against the law to have sex with your adopted children. Well, am I wrong about that? Am I wrong about it? What is that? What's Woody Allen got to do with this? Well, come on, Woody Allen. I mean, at least. No, there is no at least. You're right. Let me just continue here with the story. I thought there was a legal prohibition against. Anyway, 3 years later, after the legalization of same-sex marriage, Nino Esposito, 78 years old, needs his own Italian bread in his own kitchen, and Drew Bossie have found that claiming their newfound right to be husband and husband is a lot trickier. Pennsylvania is one of 25 states and territories that consider relations between adoptive parents and their adult children to be incest. Oh, no! Anyway, Esposito and Bossi thought it wouldn't be right to get married without having their adoption annulled first. That's a new one on me. Did you know that adoptions can be annulled? I'm not saying they can be. I hadn't heard of this. Do you call the Vatican on this? Where do you go to annul an adoption? So they were excited to go before Allegheny County, it's Pittsburgh, Allegheny County Judge Lawrence O'Toole this June. O'Toole had a reputation of being progressive on LGBT issues. He signed one of the first same-sex marriage licenses to be legally recognized in Pennsylvania. But the judge chose to defer to the appellate courts, scrawling denied on the order. The Pittsburgh couple was shocked. They had brought along $80 to pay for a marriage license as soon as the proceedings were over. Now that cash would go unused. Really? Buy some bread or buy the dough to take back to home to knead in the kitchen. Anyway, the tears, I'm sure, streaming from your eyes over this story by now. The ACLU hopeful that the Superior Court will apply established legal principles to allow the annulment of adoptions by same-sex couples so that they can finally get married. So don't send me notes and tell me I make things up. Here you have a same-sex couple with one of them adopted, and they want to get married. And they're being told no. And they don't understand it. And frankly, I don't either, because once you open the door and break down the whole definition, why can't they get married now? What's the deal? Is it this little technicality on the adoption? So what? What should that matter? What's in their hearts is what matters, right? They're in love. That's all that should matter here. Which takes us to Houston. The LGBT bathroom ordinance losers are now asking the National Football League to cancel a Super Bowl scheduled for Houston in 2017. Not the upcoming Super Bowl. The Super Bowl in 2017. Losers in the Houston bathroom ordinance election are saying that they're going to boycott Houston's economy and are asking the NFL to move the Super Bowl. Houston has got it in 2017. A hashtag campaign on Twitter has been begun called /BoycottHouston, or hashtag Boycott Houston. On the day after the defeat of the bathroom ordinance, a Change.org petition was initiated to call upon the NFL to boycott. Sites like Raw Story also criticized the methods used by the opponents of the ordinance and reported that sites such as Outsports were asking the NFL to move the 2017 Super Bowl. We're talking about 1/10 of 1% of the population doing a boycott. Anyway, on this Houston bathroom story, there's a story in the Houston Chronicle today. Headline: Ad man relishes success in anti-hero campaign. And they've got a screen grab here of the ad, and it's of a little girl, 6-7-year-old little girl. It's in the bathroom looking up at what is obviously an adult male, looking a little frightened, a little unsure, a little curious, as in, "You're not my daddy. What are you doing here?" The faceless man in plaid, clearly masculine, clearly menacing, was deliberate in the ad. The little girl's attire of black Mary Jane shoes and bobby socks, utterly innocent and vulnerable, was a happy coincidence. These two are the central characters of a 30-second ad with one message: no men in women's bathrooms. The commercial, made in black and white, ominous soundtrack, spine-chilling graphics, galvanized the opposition to Houston's equal rights ordinance. The day after voters rejected Hero, the ad man who created the TV spot was celebrating. His name is Jeff Norwood, longtime Republican political consultant based in Austin. He said, "It always feels great to win." Even before the campaign for Houston leaders brought Norwood in to create the ad, they had decided to make bathroom safety the focus of their campaign to repeal the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance, what Hero is, said the spokesman Jared Woodfill. Norwood's job was to hook voters on a gut level, and the ad did it. And I just gave you a description of a screen grab, a frame of the ad, but you can imagine how it looked. And it was very effective. The ad shifted the narrative on the election away from equal rights to bathroom safety. Norwood brushed off criticism that the commercial was misleading and unfairly characterized transgender people as sexual predators. I don't know why anybody would say that. Why would you call men that want to go into the girls' bathroom predators? Why would anybody say that? Do you have any clue? Well, the only misleading campaign here was the pro side that tried to make this about other issues and denied the fact that bathroom safety was the real issue in the campaign, said Norwood. And I think it correctly. The ad portrayed the dangers women and girls face had the ordinance passed. Now, here's the real, when you get down to all of this is the real crux of it here. Story in the Daily Signal, why lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender advocates think they lost the Houston election. Failing to pass the Hero ordinance Tuesday night came as a blow to LGBT advocates who've won recent victories in the U.S. Supreme Court and beyond. A coalition of partners that make up Houston Unites, which is the group promoting this, said, "We are disappointed with today's outcome." The biggest hurdle that the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender groups say they failed to overcome was the branding of the Houston Equal Rights Protection Ordinance as the bathroom bill. But what it really boils down to, they admit in this story, the leftists, the LGBT people, admit they cannot win in the arena of ideas. They tried to change the minds of voters, and they couldn't. What they are going to do next is work on non-elected government officials, such as people in the federal bureaucracy who can write phantom regulations. They're not elected. They don't have to go through Congress. They're appointees or what have you. Convincing large numbers of people driven by fear and religious belief simply will not happen, said one of the advocates. We're never going to overcome that. The people who matter are policymakers who have the ability to change regulations which make life difficult for transgender people, bureaucrats, administrators, judges, human resource benefit directors, school superintendents, police chiefs. These are the kind of people who need to be courted, convinced, and motivated to act. So they're admitting that what they want to do to get this thing passed is screw the voters. We're going to lose every time because we know that we're 1/10 of 1%. We're a minority that you can barely see. So to get what we want, we're going to get phantom regulators, non-elected public servants, simply write regulations permitting what we want to happen. And thereby, they are admitting exactly how much of liberalism finds its way woven into this giant fabric of deceit nationwide. It's exactly how they do it. And it's exactly how we end up thinking that we are being governed against our will. And this is another reason why the left is not all that panicked when they lose elections, because they've got people like this hidden away in every cabinet-level bureaucracy and in the judicial system, judges, and you name it. But another point to make. This is a temporary setback. It is not a defeat. They don't go away. Think back wherever you were, however many decades ago it was when you first heard somebody pitch the idea of gay marriage. And remember your first reaction. You poo-pooed it, you laughed, you thought, odd, kooky, whatever, but the point is, there is no way. And now look. They never, ever stop and go away. So you people in Houston, you might have, in your mind, temporarily beaten it, but you are going to have to stay vigilant and continually oppose this the rest of your lives, because they are not going to stop. And they are now really energized, knowing they can't persuade you to agree with them. Now they're mobilizing to get it forced on you behind the scenes in ways you won't even see it happening. By the way, don't forget, I predicted to you that the next focus of attention for the left is going to be the transgender bunch. And they think they've accomplished their objectives here with homosexuality, gay marriage. So then they have to keep the same rabble-rousing going. Remember, nothing's ever achieved. They're constantly agitating, constantly trying to transform, constantly trying to overthrow the existing order. And so now the transgender community is the recipient of all this new energy. And we're talking, it's such a minuscule portion of the population, but it's being made to look like it's significant and major, just like the gay population was made to look like. You've seen the polls. How many millennials thought the gay population was 35%? And you couldn't blame them. I mean, you turn on television, you read the news, you think half the country's gay. You find out it's 3% max. And the transgender percentage is it's not even full 1%. It's not even half of 1%. But they are simply the vehicle whereby the left's protest movement continues to agitate community organizers and what have you.